Hello, welcome back to the weekend with me, Dawn Neeson. Thank you for your time this Saturday afternoon. Now, the Home Office has advertised a job advising detained illegal migrants on how to get married. The role was based at a new immigration removal centre near Oxford that will house up to 560 foreign criminals, failed asylum seekers and migrants facing deportation. In other words, people that should not be here. The Home Office has now withdrawn the job advert. OK, joining me now is Dr Shoaib Khan, who's a human rights lawyer. Dr Khan, thank you so much for joining us. Now, I'm sorry, but I can see several flaws with this plan in that, you know, getting married might help you stay in the country. Can you make this make sense for me?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just don't really see what the outrage is about, really. I mean, firstly, just to say, I mean, obviously, it's not a marriage advisor. They're basically recruiting for a religious affairs advisor, which is basically prisons have chaplains as well. Everyone has religious leaders. So, of course, I mean, I just don't see what, but obviously part of that is if someone, you know, because from a religious point of view, spiritual point of view, if a detainee has any problems, the point is you go to your religious advisor, you go to the chaplain. So one of that obviously is, you know, considering the situation they would be in, look, I'm being deported, this is the situation. Can I get married? Should I get married? Whether it's spiritual advice, just emotional advice, just family advice, religious advice. I mean, I think it's actually good they would have someone they can talk to about that. I just don't see what the problem is.
OK. Can we just mention sham marriages to UK nationals in maybe a last-minute attempt to avoid deportation? I mean, we are talking about people that are here illegally and are on the verge of being deported. I mean, to me, it'd be quite a good plan to stay in the country.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, firstly, just to say again, I mean, sham marriage is a separate thing. This position being advertised is separate anyway. Because the point is, I mean, it's not as if they're not allowed to get married. Prisoners get married. Prisoners in prison for life get married. So the point is that is a decision for that couple to make. If someone's willing to marry them in that situation, realizing what they're up to, then I don't think that's something for the Prime Minister or the Home Secretary or, you know, or anyone else to interfere with. So I think that really is, you know, probably the most personal decision a person can make. I don't think that's something the government should be interfering with anyway. But secondly, I don't see what difference this position makes. I mean, if anything, it might be good because if it's someone, you know, who explains their religion to them, they might actually be advising, look, you're getting deported tomorrow. You never know if you're ever going to come back. You know, are you sure you want to get married? So, I mean, I think it's actually good they can have an open discussion with someone.
Right, you're much more trusting than I am, Dr Khan, to be fair. I mean, Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, says there's an absurd job advert, which they have taken down, to be fair. It further insults the British tax-paying public. Now, considering we've got a march going through London at the moment, with a lot of angry people feeling that the government is putting migrants, illegal migrants, before them. This sort of job advert doesn't help, does it?
I mean, what do you mean before them? Are British people not being allowed to marry now? Is marriage banned? And suddenly we're saying only if you're detained you can get married. And that's the thing. I mean, I think we need to stop competing with others. The government needs to give all of us all our rights. So that's the thing when black people, white people, religious, non-religion, detained, not detained. The point is, why can't everyone have all their rights? And it's up to the government to ensure that while keeping everyone safe. That's the government's job. And so, when we start fighting and dividing, then we're basically, you know, absolving the government of that responsibility. They need to make sure detainees get married if they want to, also keeping us safe. That's the government's job.
So they can get married if they want to, even if it's a sham marriage and it gives them the right to stay in this country, even though they should be deported. You're happy with that?
So the point is that the sham marriage doesn't give anyone the right. It's the visa that gives someone the right. And obviously a marriage can make a visa application stronger, but that's up to the Home Office. The point is they can interview the couple. They can see that's up to the registrar. It's not the detention center or the religious affairs officer's job to see, oh, I wonder if it's a sham marriage. The point is, yes, if a couple comes to a church and says we want to get married, I don't think it's for the vicar there or in a temple or in a mosque for the imam to say, well, are you sure you're doing it for the right reasons? Some people get married for money. Some people get married because the other person's powerful. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons. You know, some people, yes, of course, they try to get married because of a visa. But that's a personal decision between them. Maybe both of them understand, but they're going to have a very happy life together because the British person wants to marry that person regardless. They'll marry, they'll have children, they'll settle. It doesn't mean just because someone might be getting married for visa reasons, it necessarily means it's a fraud of some sort.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, everyone is always thinking of the future. Like I said, you know, some people, you might think, you know, I wonder why this person is marrying this billionaire. But the point is, yes, we know why they're marrying the billionaire. But are we then going to say, oh, it's a fraud marriage because you're only doing it for the money? I just don't understand why we're interfering with these things.
Well, because it's a way for migrants who should be deported, illegal migrants who should be deported, to stay in the country illegally.
No, so then they wouldn't be staying here illegally, would they? So if they have a British wife or a husband and then they have British children, then it's not illegal. But the point I'm making is, I don't think stopping them marrying is the issue. The thing is, if going further, once they make the visa application, we think it's a sham marriage for the purpose of circumventing, which is a law. You can't do that if you're circumventing immigration laws. In that case, it's for the Home Office to make that decision, the visa officer to make that decision. But I don't think stopping them marrying works for anyone.
OK, right, Dr Khan, I'm going to leave it there because we're going to beg to differ on this one. That's Dr Shoaib Khan, who's a human rights lawyer, which you might have guessed, by the way.